My name is Bill Scott. I recently organized an exhibition of 7 artists for Cerulean Arts Gallery and Studio. It's called I Thought I Saw You Out There. Each artist is represented by 3 of their paintings. I'm grateful to Cerulean's directors, Tina Rocha and Mike Kowbuz, for inviting me to do this. This painting is by my old friend, Terry Bruszewski. He and I were in art school together. We painted together, laughed a lot, and frequently posed for each other. Sarah McEnany had a studio down the hall, and she once painted us together. In the early 1980s, I organized a solo show of his paintings at a gallery where I then worked. It was a beauty and successful. Best of all was that the painters I knew all loved it. Somehow, Terry and I lost touch for a long time, but his paintings always remained resiliently in my mind's eye. My initial impulse to organize this exhibition was to be able to present Terry's work so that more people would see it. The day my teaching career at PAFA ended, Afif Hanna was the last student I saw. He was graduating, so we were both leaving. I loved talking with him, so was glad to discover that we were neighbors. We'd run into each other, both by plan and by chance. I enjoyed visiting his studio and meeting his 2 children, who have the best poker faces I've ever seen. Since then, he's moved, but I love when he knocks on my door and asks, "Feel like a visit?" His paintings continue to grow and grow. Last year, I included his beautiful painting of a tree in a group show in New York at Prince Street Gallery. He has a great batting average with his enigmatically engaging self-portraits, which have been exhibited in several juried and invitational shows. For this show, I asked to include 3 of his flower paintings. I am a sucker for flower paintings, and Afif's are gems. Originally, Afif told me he was unable to attend the opening reception because he couldn't take time off of work. Although I was sad that I would not see him, this was entirely understandable to me because Afif has one of the most consequential jobs I know of. He is a pediatric emergency room physician. Art is extraordinary, but health is imperative in another way. But then he called with the good news that his employer was letting him leave early so he could make the opening. Afif, it was great to see you and to have time to contemplate your paintings. "1978 was Glenn Harron's first year at PAFA and my final one. I have sweet memories of hanging out with him and other Academy friends at parties and dinners. Unfortunately, not long after our student days, our worlds rotated away from one another. A few years ago, Glenn and I saw each other at the memorial service for our friend Patrick Connors. I was happy our lives began to overlap again. It was at the memorial exhibition honoring another painter friend, John Sevchik, when we finally stopped to really speak together. I was always aware of Glenn's landscapes and figure compositions. It's odd that nowadays I know more about friends' artwork because of the internet and not visits to their studios. So I told him how much I look forward to and love seeing his paintings on his social media accounts. Our connection became indelible when realizing how much we both love Vasari Classic Artist oil colors. When organizing this exhibition, I had not realized that parallel to my own recent life experience, Glenn is also fighting cancer. He needs a liver transplant. Please come see his paintings in person wherever you can. And if you are inclined, please also visit his GoFundMe page, where he seeks help for his medical expenses. I first met Anna Shikelo at PAFA when she picked me to be one of her critics. I suspect, though, that I learned more from her than she ever learned from me. Had I not met her, I would have sought her out soon after first seeing her paintings. You can see 3 of her exquisite flower paintings at Cerulean. 2 of them are only 5 by 5 inches, an entire world in 5 by 5 inches. And a slightly larger one is titled Pandemonium. Compared to what I see in the news, Anna's is my preferred Pandemonium. I long to be there. Her differentiated touch and color are both translucent and opaque, and eerily bittersweet. I was captivated. As a teacher, I challenged her to raise the bar. Risk failure, I said. Do what you do not already know how to do. How foolishly blind I can be. Anna didn't need my challenge. She was already challenging herself every day. Anna lived in St. Petersburg, Russia until 1999, when her family emigrated to the United States. About a decade later, she was at PAFA. After PAFA, she and her husband Dan moved to New York. Social media made it possible for me to continue to see what she was painting and to learn that she and Dan had had children, and her children became a vital inspiration for her paintings. She too had curated exhibitions. She teaches and writes about art. In 2024, she interviewed me for Art Spiel, an online art magazine where a lot of her writing appears. Not yet knowing who he was, I first saw Mark Weber's work more than 30 years ago when we were both represented by the same gallery in San Francisco. I can't remember exactly when or where we met, but I know I've admired his paintings far longer than I've known him. I love when he visits. He's like a friend I've known forever and who I miss when he's not here. We usually go to the Philadelphia Museum of Art together. It's a gift to me to walk with him through the galleries filled with Italian Renaissance artworks. He loves these works, and with him, I learn and look at so much that's unfamiliar to me. A few days ago, when he dropped off his 3 paintings at Cerulean, we met first at the museum. He spoke with me about so many artists I knew nothing about. And now when I go there alone, I see echoes of his work in those paintings. And he's somehow there with me when I'm looking at them. And his work is with me too. Gillian Wainwright's paintings and personality make this a particularly gleeful event for me. I'm in awe of her paintings and her sense of humor. Although she's been here for years, steadily painting away, it was only a few years ago that I first saw her work. Her Jersey City backyard garden provides immense inspiration. Whether she's looking out at it from an indoor window or standing there outside surrounded by it, her paintings look as if they couldn't get any better than they already are. But the longer I look, they reveal more. Sometimes they lead me to fleetingly think of Bonnard or Nell Blaine, but they always bring me back to her. After the reception ended, a few of us went to a nearby restaurant. I wonder why family Thanksgiving dinners can't be as pleasurable and as fun as this was. To commemorate it, Jillian asked a restaurant employee to please photograph all of us sitting there together. The resulting photo was blurred beyond recognition, which unleashed Jillian's laughter. The only thing that would have made it a better evening was if we had had the presence of mind to order a birthday cake for Jillian's husband, Dave. I still regret that. I met Jeffrey Morabito in 2006 when he graduated from the Pennsylvania Academy of the Fine Arts. Shortly afterwards, Jeff moved to South Korea and then lived for 6 years in Beijing. He now lives in Brooklyn. Jeff paints gorgeously bittersweet landscapes in Greenwood Cemetery, a stone's throw from his apartment. He says, I pick topics I see on my daily bicycle commute. Birds, flowers, squirrels, pizza rats, and posters for beloved lost pets taped to trees and telephone poles. When asking Jeff to participate, I requested a bird locked in a cage and 2 of the lost pet pleas of help. A while ago, another friend told me, a painting has never made me cry in the way that a song will. These paintings of Jeff's can make me cry. When he visits Philadelphia, we go to the Philadelphia Museum of Art together. Seeing its Asian art collection with Jeff makes me feel as if I've never seen it before. 5 or 6 years ago, he started the podcast called I Know Strange People, where he interviews artists and explores their creative process. I was proud he considered me strange enough to be part of it. Organizing this exhibition was a great pleasure. In some ways, it felt more important to me than when I have shows of my own work. There are so many wonderful artists out there whose work needs to be seen. I am indebted to gallerists Tina and Mike, and to filmmaker John Thornton for helping to showcase these 7 extraordinary painters.